Good evening. We are here to provide a heuristic evaluation of Reddit.com. Avery Jackson, James Martin, Carlos Nunez, and myself gathered together in order to present to you from a professional standpoint of any usability issues within Reddit.com that we seem to come across during our experience of using the website. While conducting a heuristic evaluation of any website, it can often be difficult to come up with an unbiased and measurable judgment of the site. This can be especially important while attempting to compare the virtues and shortcomings of different websites that may not have the same goal and structure. The purpose is to find any issues within the website that can enhance the user experience. While conducting these evaluations, we must remain unbiased at all times and be able to adhere to a certain set of principles. These principles that we decided to use were of those by Jacob Nielsen, and those principles are what we use to judge this website by. The methods measure the website's quality in order to prevent any inherent bias of a standard judgment. The evaluation begins with a summary of its findings, followed by specific recommendations for the principles that we have came across and uncovered, and it is therefore followed up by recommendations that we find are necessary to implement in order to solve any problems that we deem are necessary for this site. Reddit is an online social news platform that attracts over 1.5 billion users a year. Utilizing forums in order to allow users to express topics of interest and enabling them to explore other subjects that users have posted is what makes Reddit so popular. Our team has gathered together and evaluated Reddit.com from the perspective of a potential user, both new and seasoned, in order to test the site for potential usability issues. The issues were then documented and several detailed recommendations were given in order to allow Reddit.com to enhance their website. Addressing such topics could ease the experience for the user and would greatly generate even more users to the site. Although issues in these areas could give users a reason to explore other sites if they are not addressed immediately. Reddit is seen as one of the most popular websites in the world, emerging as the 5th most popular website in the nation, while also achieving ranks of the 18th most popular website worldwide. In 2005, it was founded by two college friends, Steve Huffman and Alexis Ohanian. Reddit is considered a social news platform, accommodating an immense collection of forums which are referred to as posts. These posts consist of submitted user content, enabling other users to interact with each other through comments. Many of the bugs on Reddit.com seem to present themselves after they decided to make large interface changes. Recently, Reddit underwent a large redesign, which then in turn caused certain usability issues for users. Because Reddit.com accommodates such a large audience across different devices and platforms, it's virtually impossible for them to address all these issues that may occur without actually changing the website and observing users' reaction to it. Due to this, most of the issues that have been found are based off of user feedback. The purpose of this report is to provide Reddit with a detailed list of usability errors that were experienced throughout the testing process. In addition, specific recommendations were provided for Reddit to adhere to in order to enhance the site for its users. Even though Reddit.com has recently redesigned their website, the new Reddit.com has been criticized due to a loss of usability and utility by more seasoned users of the site. In this report, Reddit has carefully been analyzed to identify issues within their redesign and provide detailed solutions in order to help make Reddit.com more appealing to their current base. The first heuristic that we will be looking at is flexibility and ease of use. This heuristic tests a website's ability to allow the users with flexibility within Reddit while providing easy usability. This includes providing the user with what is exactly expected of the site during the user's visit. Our finding here was that when a user decides to make use of Reddit's search bar located at the top of the page, the search adheres results different from those expected by the user. In this particular case, the phrase baseball was used to search for subreddit posts using reddit.com search bar, but the results listed also included subreddits on soccer and Manchester United in addition. A search result is also produced in regards to the worst hotel workers of Reddit have found. As can be seen in Figure 1-1, the search for list in Figure 1-2 is sorted by relevance, and not only is this topic considered irrelevant, but also found not too far from the top of the produced results. As a team, we gathered together to inform Reddit.com of the best recommendation in order to enhance its flexibility and ease of use for its users. Search engines are designed to produce results in relation to the content in which a user searches, whether it be Google, Yahoo, or the search bar found on Reddit.com. It is highly recommended that the algorithm being used should be adjusted in order to implement better tokenization of the keywords being searched. Implementing better tokenization allows a website to be more effective while at the same time improving the website's overall efficiency. We feel by adhering to this recommendation, Reddit.com can easily enhance its flexibility and use for its users. I will now be passing it on to Carlos, who will be going into the next couple heuristics that we decided to use in order to test the usability of Reddit.com. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Mike, for the introduction. The first heuristic I'll be going over is recognition over recall. This heuristic basically states that the user shouldn't have to remember any important information when continuing to navigate the website. Our first finding was with the sort options on the Reddit website. The user can change the content or comment sorting depending on what subreddit they're on. As you can see, they can do hot, new, controversial, top, or rising, shown here by figure 2.1. The problem is that when you go back to Reddit after closing the tab, the sorting options get reset, so you have no idea where you were or what your previous sorting options were. Our recommendation to fix this issue is different for new users and for experienced users. New users who have little knowledge on the website should have the default sorting settings from the beginning. For more active users, they should be able to build their own preferred configuration. It would be convenient for Reddit to be able to save that configuration as a cookie so that whenever the user came back to the page, it would reload and they would have their sort options as they had them previously. The next violation that we found on recognition over recall had to do with the content on a page. After you close a Reddit tab and reopen it, the Reddit website does not redirect you back to the content that you were viewing. As you can see in figure 2.2, if you were browsing through a subreddit or you had clicked content post and you were looking through it and you opened a new tab and had closed the previous one, your session would not be continued and you would be returned back to the home page. Our recommendation for this issue would be that Reddit implement a feature that they could copy off of Google Chrome. When you close a tab in Google Chrome, there's an option you can enable to continue where you left off, which reopens all the tabs you had open before exiting the browser. Reddit can emulate this feature in which the website would re-navigate to the post that a user was currently reading before they exited the website. The next heuristic we evaluated was consistency in standards. This heuristic basically says that a user should not have to guess how to perform different actions or what different words mean on different parts of a page or website. They should all be consistent and follow the same standard. The first issue we found on the Reddit website with something like this was that once you get off of the home page, the navigation and the sorting options are different. As you can see on figure 3.1, if a user searches for something, the sorting options disappear. And that's odd because you should be able to sort your search, and it may be something that users would want. Our recommendation to Reddit for this issue is that the website simply maintain a consistent design. If they provide the user with the same navigation and sorting options for every single page, the user would acclimate to the website much easier and would be able to perform actions as they learned in the home page and wouldn't have to learn how to do anything different. The next issue we found with consistency in standards was that although Reddit does support the ability for a user to search via the search bar, This is the only way that a user can browse topics on a Reddit. As shown in figure 3.2, the user does not have the ability to browse general topics besides typing them in through a search bar. Our recommendation for this issue is that Reddit add a list of generalized topics or categories that the user could browse through and see that if any topics that may interest them. I will now be handing off the presentation to Avery Jackson, who will be going over the next few heuristics.
Appreciate that, Carlos. Now, a very important part of a successful website is aesthetics. Is it pleasing to the eye? Now, as you can see in figure 4.1, the user tries to attach his Twitter link to his profile. However, it doesn't show up as a hyperlink nor a clickable icon. It just shows up as a boring gray text. Now, it is the same with YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Now, a very low effort but effective solution to this would be to allow users to link others to their social media profiles via clickable icons like you see in figure 4.2. This would not only make Reddit more palatable to the eye, but it would also bring in more users from different websites as they're exposed to Reddit content via links. Implementing as much user control and freedom as possible is a good move to prevent your users from becoming frustrated. Now, as you can see in figure 5.1, Reddit implements a back to top function, which allows users to go to the top of the page and see new fresh content. But this same feature is not allotted to users who may have to minimize their Reddit page or access Reddit from their mobile phone. As a website that functions as a forum with such a huge user base, Reddit is often going to have tons of new pages of content for users to scroll through. And those users should be allowed to keep the same control over the website regardless of what mode of browser they access Reddit from. An inevitable part of a website is mistakes. There will be errors. What sets a great site apart from others is how easy it is to recognize these errors and continue using the website as normal. As you can see here in figure 6.1, the user enters an invalid username and the system shows it as such. However, when the user enters a valid username, this error doesn't go away until the user refreshes the page. If Reddit's feature of real-time automatic checking of the username validity worked correctly, it'd be a very neat way of taking away some required user action. However, a successful website should prioritize usability over design in favor of a more manual checking system to ensure that a user can recognize when an error has occurred if it does. The visibility of a system status in plain terms is the user's ability to know what's going on. As you can see in figure 7.1 and 7.2, these are comments taken from the exact same post 20 seconds apart. As you can see, the upvote counts on these comments change rapidly, as they do on post. However, you cannot see these changes unless you refresh the page and re-navigate to these comments or posts. Therefore, since news can update rapidly and opinions can change frequently on the internet, there is a need to show the change in status of posts and comments on Reddit. Because the same time that it takes a user to read an attached article, that very same article can be debunked within that time. Now, I'll give the floor to James so he can close us out.
As of right now, Reddit does not provide a way for the user to change the default language of the page via the actual Reddit website. While the content would be very difficult to translate dynamically, the buttons, navigation bars, and other static elements of the Reddit page could be translated to support users that speak different languages. Our recommendation for Reddit would be that they should add a multi-language support by creating a setting in the user's preferences that will allow them to change the native language of the website as shown in figure 8.1. Web developers that speak different languages will have to be contracted and given task of translating static elements of the page such as navigation bars, sidebars, profile tags, and basically everything excluding the user content. As for the error prevention heuristic, we found that the search bar tends to produce irrelevant search suggestions to the user upon searching. Instead, the search bar generates suggestions based off of what is trending as shown in figure 9.1. Our recommendation to help prevent user errors would be to add an autofill feature to the search bar because it will help produce better suggestions to the user. Also, over 40% of users access the internet via mobile devices, and implementing an autocomplete feature makes it easier for mobile users on a smaller screen. Nick McGuire, the author of The Benefits of Having Your Website in Multiple Languages, expresses this as the autocomplete functionality on the search bar has been documented to reduce typing by nearly 25% and estimates to save over 200 years of typing each day. As for the help and documentation heuristic, we have found that the help section is not visible enough for the everyday user. In figure 10.1, it shows that the help center can only be accessed via clicking on the icon highlighted by the red box, and that the icon then activates into a drop-down menu as shown in figure 10.2. As for the heuristic of help and documentation, our recommendation would be to add an additional icon to the top bar representing the Help Center. Currently, there is a lot of unutilized space that with some reorganization can be used to efficiently direct users to the Help Center and increase user retention. Also, the implementation of a community forum will help provide a user outlet to talk to other users that may have had similar problems and hopefully find a solution. As for the team's closing remarks, this heuristic evaluation has found many issues and has offered several solutions that should significantly improve the user experience. The changes will allow the social media website to not only retain the current user base, but should also increase it exponentially if they choose to follow these recommendations. Both new and old users should find the experience more rewarding and intuitive when compared to their competitors. Without these changes, Reddit will find their user base wane due to a lack of usability and their audience finding their grievances with the websites falling on deaf ears.